and welcome to today's episode of Trends with LJE. I am your host, Maimuna Zubair, and joining me on the panel are development strategist Shedrack Oka, lecturer and media expert Dr. Uchehara Ikedichukwu-Chris, and social commentator Miriam Gamaliel. Gentlemen and lady, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, it's Friday and we have 5 major stories shaping the headlines. Let's dive right in. We begin with President Bola Tinubu's visit to Benue State as he visited Makurdi this week after the recent massacre in Yelewata, Guma local government area where over 100 people lost their lives. The president met with survivors, visited victims in hospitals, and shared a town hall with political, traditional, and civil society leaders, urging service chiefs to act swiftly and calling for improved intelligence to prevent further attacks. He said, quote, "Let's get those criminals, let's get them out," pressing for arrests and better surveillance. However, reactions have been divided. Labour Party's Peter Obi criticized Tinubu for arriving not in mourning cloth, but in celebratory Agbada attire, like it were an occasion of joy, calling the visit a fanfare that contradicts the gravity of the tragedy. SDP's Prince Adewale Adebayo also slammed the event as trivialized and reduced to politics, questioning the focus on 2027. Elections over addressing the massacre. Meanwhile, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, links the killings to military saboteurs, saying, quote, "If you see the pattern of killings and slaughtering, it means there is an insider." He called for a change in strategy and greater synergy with communities. Shedrack, so many things to talk about regarding this visit and all of the reactions that that followed it. Let me hear your thoughts on the visits as in itself. Does it signify to you real commitment to ending the violence, or is it, as Obi has said, more political theater? Also, what do you make of the CDS's claim?
Well, I wish to have commended the president as a sign of good gesture and responsible leadership for visiting Benue, but I'll withhold that appraisal because it appears to me is a second thought. Nigerians have to talk. The Pope spoke first, puts pressure. Nigerians talked before he eventually visited. So that reduces the credit that I would have given to him being a compassionate leader.
Right.
Secondly, the publicity that is built around it, calling school children to stand under the rain to welcome him, people dressing in good clothes, forcing people to come with smiling faces to welcome Mr. President as a sign of Benue appreciates you.
While they are mourning.
While they are mourning,
right.
Reduces the entirety of the gesture of Mr. President to do so. And also from the CDS's talk, of course, they've not said anything new. In fact, anytime our leaders addresses us, the first thing that comes to my mind is, I want to hear information. Things I don't know, but repeating those rhetorics of things we always know, that there is always sabotage in the military. Names have been called from Nigerian soldiers in the theater of warfare.
Right.
Accusing some of their generals of being complicit to this issue, but we have never found anybody brought to book. And for Mr. President saying they should fish out those criminals, let's allow for a week or two and see whether his call to action will be respected. And I can tell you in this table, it will never amount to anything. Nobody will be brought to book. No criminal will be brought to book, except the general will fish out some sacred cows to present to Mr. President as being culprit. But I know that is never going to happen because the president words don't count, because we see everything in the lenses of politics in the country.
Right.
And it's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, very well said. Dr. Chris, what do you make of the visit and everything that has fallen out so far? What are your thoughts on this? And the fact that it was actually a rescheduled thing. The president initially was going to go to Kaduna, and then when the pressure started to mount with the protests and everything, he decided to redirect to Benue State. What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, quickly, let me comment on the area of, just to make reference to what my colleague here said, Mr. Shedrack, after several media bombardment, media ambush, plea for international and local, before he could change his mind from going to Kaduna to Benue State.
Right.
That is not what is expected of a good leader. But be that it may, he has gone and come back. Let's look onto what will be the action. You know, other countries of the world, I was meant to know that the words of presidents of other countries of the world carry weight. But it's like our own country. It has jurisdiction to where it works and where it doesn't work. You know, referencing quickly to that of River State, where he quickly rushed in, made the pronouncement. Today there is a state of emergency and he's working. Here in Benue, I don't know why it has a different approach, you know. So he has said something. Let's watch and see whether they will act accordingly.
Right.
But just like Shedrack just said, I doubt. I doubt.
Miriam, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that there's any practical steps that the government can take to restore trust and security in Benue?
I don't think there are any steps that the government will take to restore peace. Our president went, in fact, to me, that he's going, it's not even as if he just did it like, make I go, make we see I go. Make people not talk, say things they happen, I know go, make I just go straight in, and that is not right. For him to say that he had other things that he's supposed to do, but he will reschedule, that means the things happening in Benue didn't even mean anything to him. He saw them as, I beg, it is not
normal
important.
Levels,
like normal levels, something like that. And it is not right. Now he has said that they should apprehend, they should bring everybody involved. Who will bring when they are the ones who know who that are involved in this?
Absolutely.
So him just going around saying things, it's just that I'm the president and I have spoken, and that doesn't make sense.
Right. Let's move quickly along to our next story, where Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's defamation trial and renewed attacks on her residence. The suspended senator was arraigned at the FCT High Court on alleged defamation charges against Senate President Godswill Akpabio, pleading not guilty and granted bail at 50 million naira. The charges stem from claims she made on a live TV broadcast alleging Akpabio, an ex-governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, conspired to orchestrate her assassination. In a worrying development, her family home in Kogi was attacked by armed men for the second time in 2 months, with a suspect apprehended and alleged links to political figures. The Senate's team says this pattern of violence lends credibility to her claims of being targeted. Miriam, I'm going to come to you first. Okay, so now we have 2 repeated attacks on Senator Natasha's hometown residence in the space of 2 months, within the time frame of when she's alleging, an assassination plot. Not to give too much weight to her, claims, because she hasn't provided proof. But just like her team are saying, do you think, is there no way for us to see that there is something, there's a connection to what she's saying and what is happening?
Yes, to me there is a connection. I feel they are trying to silence her, to keep her short from saying the things she's supposed to say. But what I would say is, if she is sure that this and this really happened, she should go forward, bring out credible evidence that will prove her free.
Absolutely. Shedrack, we talked about this off camera. Let's talk about the court, the arraignment of it all, and the granting of bail. I want to ask about how the perception of this trial so far is going. I didn't think that this was a criminal case, and now they were almost going to remand her to the point where she's now been set free on bail. Let me hear your thoughts on this. Is there something that we're missing? Was this not supposed to be just a civil case? What is going on?
Well, it's ordinarily supposed to be a civil case, but because I presume, even though it is not made public or disclosed, the police would have investigated that, and then because the parties to it, which they are Bello now and Senator Akpabio, would have also petitioned the police for defamation.
Right. So
that makes it criminal. And that is what they are trying to pursue, a criminal prosecution against Natasha for the defamation. But for me, I think I want to put this in perspective very quickly. Number one, we know the origin of this case.
Right.
First, there was an issue of abuse of the Senate standing rules, which if she was guilty of, even though she used a lifeline in the Senate, but when the disciplinary committee was set, even if she was guilty and we were to discipline her, there is already a court order. You cannot discipline a senator above certain amount of weeks or months.
Right.
So in the first place, the Senate presidency and the Senate leadership have contravened the law by suspending Natasha for 6 months, even though the procedures were abused. But let us call the fact. First, they abused the law themselves. So every other thing happening, the defamation case issue and the issue of sexual harassment.
They are all fruits of the poison tree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let us put this in. How is it that the first thing first, which is contravention of the law itself by the Senate president, is being swept under the carpet?
Right.
The second thing that follows is a harassment, sexual harassment case. Why are they silent over this issue?
Right.
Why is the Attorney General, which is justice now, police IG, which is the executive, why are they joining forces against this issue, taking up personal issue as against the state issue?
Right.
The issue with the Senate is the issue that borders on institution.
Right.
Why don't we focus on that?
Absolutely.
Why are they pursuing personal issues as vendetta? This puts out our institution as being complicit in corrupt practices.
Absolutely.
And it will not inspire patriotism among the citizens. We are disgusted with what is happening in this Natasha case. But I know at the end of the day, justice will prevail.
Absolutely. Here's hoping. Moving forward, President Tinubu this week flagged off the construction of a new annex of INEC in Abuja, calling it a symbol of Nigeria's commitment to electoral integrity and democratic growth. INEC Chairman, Prof. Mahmood Yakubu, highlighted that the current headquarters is overcrowded with staff numbers more than doubling since the building was commissioned. The new annex will feature modern offices, a 1,000-seat auditorium, and a museum of Nigeria's electoral history. Dr. Chris, let's talk about this. I elected to put this as part of our docket to really dissect what this means. How significant do you think this move is for Nigeria's democratic process, bearing in mind that a lot of these are part of the unfolding of consistent commissioning of buildings and roads that the president has been embarking on alongside the FCT Minister Wike over the past few weeks? What are your thoughts on this?
Personally, I don't derive joy in being on the negative side of criticizing our leaders. But duty calls that as a journalist, when you see something that you know is not good, you speak out and be objective about it.
Absolutely.
Any day they turn out to be a good leader for us, we will speak it out on this platform.
Absolutely.
The issue of going to do another or build another, make a better building for INEC, for me, our problem as a people is not on the aspect of INEC structure. We are looking up to INEC, coming up with their constitutional responsibilities, discharging it for the benefit of the country, not erecting building. We have enough building that INEC can even go in. So this calls for another look at what is this building going to serve INEC and the people. Believe you me, this is another way of trying to serve the economy. Absolutely. This is another way of trying to rip us off of the remaining part of the economy. So it doesn't add to anything to us as a country, as a people. Somebody somewhere has proposed for this, and money is going to come out of it.
Right.
And that is why, go and check it. The approval is done speedily. And that is to tell you that somebody is behind it and going to benefit out of it.
Very well said. Miriam, can you predict whose name will be on the building when it's eventually completed? Let me hear your thoughts on this in general.
Well, our problem in Nigeria is not erecting offices for INEC. We need electoral reforms.
Absolutely.
Like immediate transmission of results when we're doing election, and not erecting offices. Okay, this one now that Tinubu is going to flag off another office for INEC, is he trying to now say that INEC is a department of APC? Is it what he's trying to say? Because to me, it is looking like that. He's trying to favor INEC or do things for INEC so that 2027, INEC will support him to rig the election again. So this building he's erecting now, to me, is like a glitch office,
Right.
where they will say the transmission is bad, and that is why we had issues with our systems and all that. I hope Nigerians wake up and see what our president is actually doing.
That's a very cynical take. Shadrach, very quickly, what are your thoughts?
Well, let me, contrast the views of my colleague. Does INEC need a more befitting and prestigious office? Yes. Do they deserve a better structure than the one they currently are, given the reasons he had advanced, that the size of the workforce is twice more than it was commissioned before? Yes. The issue on procurement and the amount of budget that is going into the building is questionable,
Right.
because they don't inspire our leaders. If you can put 250-something million for a street light, so everything is questionable.
Yeah.
So it is on that part that I
Take issue with.
Yes, exactly. But just in 30 seconds, I think whether you are building a new structure and naming President Bola Tinubu or Oluremi Tinubu's house, being the INEC Secretariat, is immaterial. When Nigerians want to recruit their new leadership, and we are serious, it doesn't matter how many governors are defecting to APC. It doesn't matter whether the INEC chairman himself is a card-carrying member of APC, because most of the commissioners are card-carrying members of APC. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Nigerians will elect their leaders. But the issue is whether you pronounce that leader that Nigeria have chosen. It's a different ball game, which is our concern now, the electoral reform, to transmit a result in real time through the IRA is what we want.
Right.
Name it Wike House. It's none of our business. After all, when Wike was fully in PDP, he was accused that the current Professor Mahmood of INEC was, when he was Minister for State for Education, he was working under him as third fund boss.
Right.
And because of that, he said he's going to favor Wike. And of course, Wike has been winning all his elections until now he's in the leading party,
Right.
by proxy. So it doesn't matter. Nigerians will decide who their leaders is in 2027. It doesn't matter whether you pronounce the person in midnight or in daytime. Our leader is our leader whom we will choose. Name the INEC Secretariat after anybody is none of our business, including the son of Mr. President. Sheyi's house is none of our business.
Absolutely, very well said. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we discuss the viral Pastor Adefarasin stun gun case and a tragic incident involving a police inspector and his 10-year-old son. Stay with us.
As a people and members of LJE Green Community, we share a deeper commitment to protect not only our environment, but also the rights and dignity of all individuals within our reach. Every day, we are faced with responsibility to uphold human dignity. If you see something happening around you, do not turn blind eye. We must act, because that's where our role as ambassadors come in. Being an ambassador doesn't require any superpower. It requires awareness, compassion, and the willingness to speak up. If you see something, say something. It's our duty to stand up for justice and amplify the voices of those who can't speak for themselves. One voice can spark a movement, and together we can create a nation that values human life. You can reach us on 070-5236-8821 or visit our website at www.ljenigeria.org to report a violation. Remember, if you see something, say something.
Welcome back. The show is still Trends with LJE. Our next story, senior pastor of House on the Rock Church, Paul Adefarasin, voluntarily turned himself in to Lagos police after a viral video showed him brandishing a gun-like object during a roadside encounter. Police confirmed the object was a stun gun, which is classified as a prohibited riot equipment. The Lagos Commissioner of Police, Olundare Jimo, stated pointing the stun gun at another individual and sending that threat and fear constitutes an offense. The pastor, who initially insisted it was not a gun, neither did he point it at anyone, maintains it was a misunderstanding. This story has been ongoing for a couple of weeks now. I've been waiting to see what the conclusion is before we treat it on this table. What do we think about, this gap between, I think, okay, let's start with the fact that when the video initially went viral, and people were calling for the police to step in. They didn't. And the pastor himself said that it wasn't a gun and he didn't point it at anyone. And I think it was because of how loud things got, especially on social media, that made the police descend and invite to him. And he made that show of turning himself in. What are your thoughts on this? Should religious leaders be held to a higher standard in public conduct?
Well, Paul Adefarasin is like a celebrity. And of course, anything around prominent figures counts. There are three things I want to mention. Number one, let me start from the part that will favor him. Number one, we know the law very well. The young man who videoed him was creating content without his consent. When he wound down and said, "Don't do this," it means I didn't give you permission to use the image or whatever you recorded about me as your content. The boy went ahead to post it. So nobody's talking about his rights that the young man have violated. Nobody wants to talk about that because tomorrow if he goes on want to sue the guy, you see, people will start crying. But he's silent about that because in his first video he said, though this is intended, it looks like he's against me, but it's beyond me. So he's not ready even to explore that. But I want to make it very clear. Not even the police is exploring that part to say that you cannot use somebody's content without his consent or permission. Nobody is saying that. Secondly, he pointed something that looks like a gun. Of course, he was trying to say the boy, don't do this. He was holding in his hand. And the police investigation so far, for over 3 weeks now, have not proved that it was a gun. If it was a taser, a toy gun, or whatever that he used to scare people away, it's a different, whatever the law says about that, it's fine. But the part I want to take is that we've seen people brandish AK-47 in Nigeria, make videos pointing and threatening other Nigerians in videos across the country. And no single arrest have been made. So what are we saying? What is against Paul Afai does not apply to these other people? Is that what they are trying to tell us? That is the second part. And then the last part is that the police starting that they are accused by saying nobody is above the law. Come on. It's already something that is poisonous to my ears. Because the law, of course, is supposed to apply to everybody, but it seemed to me they are echoing that statement in capital letter means people have been living above the law, which is the norm, that people have been living above the law. So they're saying that as if they are celebrating. He came in himself. They didn't go for any arrest.
No, they said that they sent him an invitation. And
then he honored it. So it's not supposed to be a big deal. Everybody is supposed to be under the law. But of course, in the case of Natasha versus Akpabio, they are shown that some people are living way above the law. So it become a big news for them. It's not a big catch. They should go and do what is simply right.
Very well said. Miriam, what are your thoughts on this in general?
Like Mr. Shedrack has said, Pastor Adefarasin didn't authorize or didn't consent to the content creator videoing him, and everybody, even Nigerians, are silent about it. Because you go on social media and everybody is saying, why did he point the gun at the guy? Why did he point? But nobody is now talking about that part where he didn't consent to him videoing him. So now it's not as if because he's a pastor and he's a big man, Nigerians are trying to turn against him to be like, okay, yes, he's a big man, they should punish him, we should face the law and all that. And that is not right. When things happen, we should sit down and analyze both parts. If the poor man is wrong, he should face the consequences. If the big man is wrong, the big man should also face the consequences, and not trying to side one person and let the other person go to jail.
Absolutely, very well said. And finally, tragedy struck in Anambra State as Inspector Okoli Amechi was accidentally shot dead by his 10-year-old son, who was unaware that the AK-47 rifle was loaded. Anambra State Police Command confirmed that the inspector's second child was also injured and is responding to treatment. Police say the rifle has been recovered. Dr. Chris, this is a very sad situation that happened over the week. Let me hear your thoughts on this.
You see, there are many angles to what happened in Anambra State. One of the way to look at it is this. I see how low we have gone as parents and how unprofessional we have gone as a people. Now, looking at the man, a policeman of that stature, that level, shouldn't have dropped an already loaded gun kept by the side of a teenager or his child for that matter. Now, as a parent, there are things you don't allow your children touch or hold or come close to in your house. There are electronic gadgets, equipments, or whatever, rooms they shouldn't use without your permission. There are things they shouldn't touch. I see a lapse on the area of that man as a parent. And I see him a very big lapse again as a professional.
Right.
So this calls for our parents to be very careful. Go and do a very thorough analysis or opinion poll on our Nigerian police or other security agents. This thing has been happening. It's just that this one came as an eye-opener to all of us for us to know what to do and what not to do in our houses, in other areas of our lives. We shouldn't. There are things we shouldn't do. We should take care of our children very, very well.
Right.
Teach them what to do and be apt in doing it. So the man, just for me, he just killed himself by not being professional.
Very sad. Shadrach, my own question is, I don't know, why are we allowing our police officers, our law enforcement agents, go home with semi-automatic rifles, not just a small pistol, a whole AK-47 in the first place? Do we not have a repository where after the day's job you can hand that back over and then you can just have your normal side handgun which you can take home? What is the law? I am very confused as to how this happened. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, this unfortunate incident just promoted to Nigerians in the limelight or brought it to the fore the unprofessionalism and a lot of perversion that is going on in our security agencies.
Absolutely.
I can tell you a lot of funny things happen because of the illegal works, most illegal duties. You find a police officer go for arrest without an arrest warrant. You find a lot of them standing on the roadside on beats where they are not posted to make money for their organs at the top because they remit. Nigerians today have one of the worst public image, Nigerian police, worst public image for collecting bribe, brandishing their name, and it is legal for them. They legalize that illegality and corruption, and nothing is done about it. So going home with those rifles, I don't know if he had other assignments to deliver. That is the truth, because we have policemen on uniform committing a lot of atrocities. You can see what the CDS said, that such things happen through the collaborations of men in uniform.
Absolutely.
So they do all kinds of things. And unfortunately, this has happened. He's dead now. We cannot explain beyond what he has said. But growing up, I know. One day I was thinking about myself. You ask your parent money, they didn't give you. How stupid was I? Because you know where this money is, yet you can't touch it.
Absolutely.
You say, Daddy, give me so money, and he said, no. And you can't go there to touch it because we're properly brought up. When they say this area is a no-go area, you respect that. I think we should come back home to re-educate our children. The family front parenting is failing because of the pressure through bad governance that is bringing in the home front.
Very well said. And that brings us to a wrap on today's edition of Trends with LJE. A big thank you to the panel, Shadrach, Miriam, and Dr. Chris, for your time, for lending your voice to today's present conversations. Thank you so much. And to you, our viewers, for staying tuned. Be sure to keep the conversation going by commenting and liking and subscribing to all of our social media platforms showing on your screen. Join us next week as we continue to explore the stories shaping Nigeria and beyond. I am Maimuna Zubair. Bye for now.